Do Better TV?
Do Better TV.
What we're on right now?
Yes, sir.
I love that. Hey, it's Tom Chun, nicknamed Chun. I grew up in Kansas City, so it was a pretty crazy place to grow up. I remember the 70s. 70s were a wild place. I grew up in Brookside. Brookside was a complete party place back in the day.
Wow.
It's a lot more commercialized now than what it is.
Brookside area.
Yeah, Brookside area. It was like basically it was a block and a half square. I mean, there was like 3 major bars. My buddy owned the barber shop there. That's where I started getting shaved.
Give us a picture of the environment in the 70s.
70s Brookside was just, I mean, the laws weren't as bad, everything was pretty wide open. You had one bar up there, it was called Terrance. They used to run book out of there.
Really?
People gambled. I mean, you could buy cocaine out of the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
How late when this place open? Is it still open today, or?
It's got a whole different name. The environment is completely different. They eventually got busted by the feds. For a long time, everybody did everything there like they thought they had a license for it.
Oh,
then you
okay.
had a bar just down and up called Michelangelo's. Across the way was a place called Brooksider, but Soteras was the only 3 o'clock bar in the place.
So it opened up at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, so from 1:30 to 3, that's where everybody jammed in, and it was jam-packed.
Wow.
But you have everything in that 1.5 mile radius, and if you had a lot of pull. Me and my buddy, his dad owned the barber shop, and he'd had that shop for years. That's where I started getting my shaves, straight razor shaves.
So what barber shop is that?
It was called the Brookside Barber Shop.
Is it still open?
No, well, it is. It's called the new. It's not like it was. The guy that owned it passed away. His name was Glenn Russell.
So we're in the 70s right now.
70s up through the early 80s. But
Okay.
The 70s were the highlight. I think the late 70s was the highlight of the party thing.
Really, really.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to get into. So moving in towards the 80s, was the party still going on, or was it like?
The party was going, but I forget when the feds came down and busted up Soteras, and that kind of started putting a damper on some of the Brookside activity. The 80s were okay. After the 80s, I think a lot of stuff went to shit in Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, now of course there's sobriety checkpoints up on the weekend. Back in the day, that was unheard of.
Really?
They didn't have sobriety checkpoints.
So you said things were pretty lax in the 70s?
Oh, they were lax. I mean, no sobriety checkpoints, no bullshit.
You said even with the death, you may not.
Nah, I mean, not that everybody. I didn't know anybody that personally had killed anybody.
Not saying purposely, but just like under the influence.
Yeah, but I mean,
manslaughter.
I knew people from watching the news and stuff, and they didn't go to prison.
Wow.
Stories. I didn't know anybody personally that.
Oh, okay.
That there was a death involved.
Correct.
But I mean, they ran books, so you could bet. You bet people. You had people betting football every Sunday right up the street, and they passed out sheets like on Thursdays with all the lines, the over and unders, the lines. Okay. They paid you right there, you paid them right there. There was a guy in there that, he sold Coke. So you might leave there Friday night with an 8-ball of Coke. And
wow.
And if you had the Coke, you had the chicks.
Wow, really? So a lot of chicks was into that back then?
Oh yeah, a lot of chicks. And Coke was everywhere back in the 70s. A lot of the stuff was cut here. It wasn't going to be like it would be in Miami and,
right.
The country.
But maybe in the 80s was the crack, how did crack hit in the 80s in Kansas City? Do you remember?
I think the blacks got more into the crack, and they got that open.
Did you experience that?
People got into the. Nah, I really didn't. I was more of a snort man. I had some friends that got into the crack.
No, I'm saying, did you experience like seeing? So you said, so you really didn't experience the crack era?
Well, I had friends that did, and it cost. Friends that I knew that used to snort that got into the crack. I personally didn't want to go there.
But you said it's more like probably a black thing, the crack.
Selling it.
So what about using?
Yeah, a lot of whites.
Really?
Yeah, so the blacks were making some money there.
Hey,
and that's one of the first, I think, organized things that the blacks really took control of.
Was drugs?
With the crack.
Oh, crack, yeah.
Before that, a lot of the whites had the marking on a lot of
like the
stuff.
mobs, just mob people?
You had a lot of local people selling. I mean, everything trickled down.
You were a firefighter at this moment, right?
Yeah.
So when did you retire and go to Costa Rica?
Well, I got busted at a sobriety checkpoint in 2008, blah, blah, blah. I hadn't had one in 15 years. Changed, well, it was bullshit. I had like 6 beers. It was in Clay County, which is a lot rougher than Jackson. They don't have any real crime there. They wouldn't break it to a misdemeanor. Wouldn't give me my SIS. I have to retire from the fire department.
You had to? You was forced to?
Because of the felony, and I was going to have to wear a bracelet for 3 years. I declined, decided to go to, it was either wear the bracelet, kill myself, go to Costa Rica, or go to prison. I went to prison, thought I'd be out in 4 months. I had a bad lawyer, he did me a shitty job.
You've been spending over a year, right?
I did a year, got out, I had 2 years on parole. My parole officer was real cool. Meantime, I was fighting all this time to get changed to a misdemeanor. I filed a thing while I was in prison. Got it changed to the misdemeanor. Went to Costa Rica for a year, charged up the credit cards a little bit too much. Got home.
How much did you charge up?
About $20,000.
$20,000 in Costa Rica.
I owed some, but I probably was 7-8 grand in debt.
That means you had a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Because I heard Costa Rica is the place to go if you're trying to have fun.
Oh, it's because the doctors, the whole laws are different there. I mean, if people have like prescription pills and you have back, I mean, you can go to the doctors almost on a weekly basis.
Wow.
And get what you want. They're not regulated, and they just, they love Americans.
Wow. And then you came back to Kansas City?
And I'm back.
And now you're here.
And I did have a bar before that here in Kansas City. I think it was in the 90s. Belanca's. I used to be there every Saturday. If I was working, I tried to get somebody to come in and work for me. It was a swingers night, and I got laid out of there a lot. You have
really?
People that like people to watch their wives getting done. That was one. And then when the lady that owned it was gay, Lori. When she got that place closed down, that was one of my last big party spots that I hit on a regular.
And what was that called?
Belanca's.
And it was a swingers club.
On Saturdays.
On Saturdays, okay.
Alternative bar it was. There was a lot of gay, but Saturdays it was straight night, swingers night.
Oh, okay.
That was the place to be. Let's not forget the Chiefs winning the bowl in '69.
Oh, yeah. Put emphasis on that jacket there. I'm zooming in on it. I'm getting some of the, see if I can get some of the patches.
Very, very cheap. You see it's had better days.
Show the 69, the 69 patch.
Well, you got the Super Bowl 4, you got the 69 patch.
Yeah.
Here you got the score, where it was played, the date, January 11th.
Hold on, yeah, can you flatten it out a little bit? Yeah, I can get it.
The Chiefs,
there you
the Chiefs 23, Minnesota 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chun, we got the Chun.
Yeah, it was Kansas City was wide open, and I had a great time there.
So Chun,
I'm back, and
speak on the sports. Speak on sports in Kansas City from the 80s till now.
Well, Royals won the series in '85. We had a big down, but we finally got it again. We went 2 straight years, so
yeah.
I think there's good things coming in Kansas City. I'd like to see the laws more lax. I don't think it's ever going to be what it was. It was a fantastic place back in the day. You start putting people in prison for DWIs and bullshit.
Right.
And sobriety checkpoints. People can't go out on the weekend without having to worry about it. There's a lot of bullshit now.
Yeah. But yeah, so we spoke on that. So just some of the Kansas City history. I know we talk about like Pendergast. We talk about the like Machine Gun Kelly. We talk about the mob shooting at the Union Station. Do you have any knowledge of?
A little before my time, but of course the bullet holes are still there. Everybody that's from Kansas City knows the story. I think that they were, I don't know the name of the guy they were trying to break out. He got killed in the attempt to rescue him.
The bullet holes are still in Union Station.
Huh?
You said the bullet holes are still in Union Station?
Yeah, you can go down and visit the bullet holes.
Wow. You know anything about like the racial separation in Kansas City as far as the street truce? Because they say truce, if you go east of truce,
dividing line. That's
the dividing line in Kansas City. Do you have any knowledge? Like growing up in the 70s, you probably had to see that firsthand.
Yeah, the dividing line, the process.
What's up with Chubby's? Why do you love Chubby so much? What brings you back to this place every day?
It's home. It's got a lot of memories with Chubby's. A lot of nice people work here. I know a lot of the people. Of course, Whitney. She's always a plus. Right. She's pregnant, but she'll be having that baby soon, and then she'll have that old shape back.
Right, she'll be back. Right. So born and raised in Kansas City, we got Tommy Chun here, one of the superstars of the city. So man, I think this is a great interview. Thank you, Chun, to been on DoBettaTV. And
Not to worry, kid.
thank you, Chun. All right, man. Do better. Thank you. What's one of your most interesting stories as far as sexual, drugs, anything, just in Kansas City? Just one of yours
Well,
most.
there's so many of them.
Just give the people just one
I
that.
had one at Blanca's where this couple was there to meet another guy, and I guess he looked like me. They came up and said, "Do you talk online?" She was cute. She had freckles, you know. And I said, "Yeah, well," I said, "Nah." I said, "I do, but not that much." Blah blah blah. And they said, "Oh well, we thought you were somebody else. You look like this guy. He never showed." And then we all went downstairs 10 o'clock. So I sent them over drinks. She said, "Come join us. We get to talk." And she said, "You want to go out to the van and have sex?" So we went out to the van and had sex.
You and the girl?
And the husband came out and watched.
And watch. How many times did you do that?
With
Like,
her?
no, with couples, because you said.
Oh, well, and not just from Blanca's. I mean, I used to answer ads, and I've done couples, you know, where people watched. There was one guy that filmed me. You know, I'm pretty not inhibited.
Pretty open.
Yeah, pretty open when it comes to sex. I don't think that we're historically supposed to be monogamous.